We're here again at the beach. I try to give you a good view of the beach so you can enjoy that while we talk. But I'll probably turn it a little bit towards me again. So this is a beautiful day at the beach. It's kind of cloudy, but we won't worry about that. So I said the next thing we're going to talk about is Smyrna, because we're on a circuit, meaning the Roman road we talked about, the Cursus Publicus, was a mail route. In the 7 churches, there is a perfect setup on a circuit that God decided to send the letters on a circuit. Well, interesting to me, of course. And I have this little crude drawing of the circuit of the 7 churches. And you can look up your own map. But the church that is on that circuit, it's a reason it's in a perfect circuit is because, like the stars, the 7 churches are the stars that are in Jesus's right hand. They're on a circuit and they keep telling the same story. The stars are telling the glory of God. And believe it or not astrology, but astronomy has a story because God named every star. The names and their circuit, their story, starting with Virgo, which is the Virgin, which has a branch in her right hand, and that's a Nitzar, or like a Nazareth. The branch is the Nazarene, Jesus, is in her right hand. The Virgin gave birth to the Nazarene. And then it ends, the end of the story, and the circuit and the stars going around is the Leo, the lion, which is Jesus coming again as the lion of the tribe of Judah. And so that's a magnificent picture, and one we can't talk about. But if you have an interest, I would like for you to pick up the book by E.W. Bullinger called The Witness of the Stars. And it just means the gospel was written in the stars. And he proves it. And it's a very interesting book. And it's not, like I said, astrology. It's astronomy, the science of the stars. And it was as old as antiquity ever was, and it was already in place when Adam and Eve were created. So God put it beforehand, and it's continually on a circuit. So this Roman road, the Cursus Publicus, with the 7 churches on it, is a circuit of truths about the church age. All the churches are included. How do I know that? Because the whole entire salvation saga ends in the book of Revelation with us, the church, as the bride of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, or Yeshua HaMashiach, the Nazareth, or the Natsar. We are with him forever in the New Jerusalem as his beloved family and bride. And that's going to end the whole epic story. So why would the messages to the 7 churches not have everything we needed for this entire church age? That's why it's a star, like on a circuit, and that the Spirit of God impressed on me, and now he's showing us explicitly that the churches are on a circuit, meaning we need to listen to the story, and it does have a beginning and it does have an ending, and you have a place in the story, because that door that's going to open up in the next chapter, chapter 3, where Philadelphia, the Church of Brotherly Love, is going to have an open door set before them. That's typical of the rapture, making it out of this earth. He said, I will keep you from the hour of temptation or the hour of tribulation that shall come upon the face of the whole earth. And we know Jesus never lies. And he wants us to go through the open door. Why would he send us these messages? Why would he put it on a circuit in all of the church age for us to look at, to repent, to hear him? He says, hear, all 7 churches. He says, repent. One of the churches, Thyatira, he has nothing good to say about. One of the churches he has nothing bad to say about. That was Smyrna, the church we're on now. Because they're the second church in the church circuit. And that age is the age of the persecuted church, where they killed them in the Colosseum. They caused the lions to eat them. And they suffered. But the book of Revelation says, be faithful unto death, and I'm going to give you a crown of life. So, that's what Smyrna is all about. The word myrrh is in the word Smyrna. And myrrh was a ingredient in embalming ointment or embalming fluid, or what they would embalm the dead person's body with. Their spirit and soul's gone, but they would put that good smelling ointment on them because they loved them, just like we love our children and grandparents and aunts and uncles and friends and wives and husbands that have passed on. We love them. They did too. So in the church, Smyrna, he's going to give them a beautiful picture of a persecuted church. He's going to say that I am the first and the last. I'm the one who was dead, and I am alive. And that's in the description in chapter 1 of Revelation. Hear that word? I was dead, but I am alive. So he's telling the church that's going to suffer through that terrible persecution age. And churches and people that are Christians are still being murdered, martyred, suffer for their Christianity. It's in all ages. I told you, these things, good and bad, are in all ages of the church. And they're found in different degrees, more or less, in different churches. So, the church of Smyrna is the church that suffers. And I would like for you to read the whole passage in chapter 2, starting in verse 7, I believe. And you can look at it and see what he says. And he promises them that overcome, this is what he says, you won't be hurt from the second death. There's that word death again. They persecuted the Christians in the early church age. After the apostolic age, they persecuted them unto death. And they had to suffer death. But Jesus saw them. He didn't have one bad thing to say about them. They got a passing grade as far as church goes. But only one church is going to go through the open door. And that's the church of Philadelphia. And we've been talking about it. I want you to look at it, of course. Read it ahead of time. And you can read through all 7 churches. It won't take you but a couple minutes. It's only 2 chapters in the Bible. It's very short. Read it. Take it in. Think about it. Put it in your heart. What he said good, what he said bad. When he told them to repent, when he told them they didn't do anything wrong, but they were going to suffer. It's not so wrong to suffer, is it? Sometimes I suffer for Christ. I find it a great privilege. I hope you will too. So anyway, we talked about the circuit. We talked about the cursus publicus, because the actual road that the 7 churches are on in ancient Turkey or in Asia Minor in the Roman times, the Roman road, that was a mail route. It was about 30 or 40 kilometers between the churches. A perfect amount of time for a courier. That was a day's ride for each courier, and that's how they had it set up. They had it set up for each courier to go to the next 30 or 40 kilometers. And these churches are actually 30 or 40 kilometers apart. In other words, enough for a messenger to go to the next one, the next one, the next one. In a circuit. In a circuit. Now, there's another set of 7 stars. They're called the 7 sisters. And I told you that the heavens declare the glory of God. And the name of those 7 sisters is called the Pleiades. And it's found in Orion's constellation, or the Orion Belt. But Pleiades is a constellation known also as the 7 sisters. Now these churches are 7 sisters. And the Pleiades is like on a similar shaped circuit from the map that I just showed you of the 7 churches. Isn't that a non-coincidence by the hands of our Creator, who's extremely exact and has a great and exact plan for all of our lives, and He knows what He's doing, and He put it in place ahead of time before we would need it. And this hour that God allowed us to be born in is the hour He chose for us individually to be in the earth. And He knew we'd need a certain strength to endure this time. And He's going to give us wisdom and knowledge and understanding for this age through His Word and through the prophets, the apostles, the evangelists, the pastors, and the teachers, which I am one of those. And that's why I'm going to share with you from the Bible as honestly, as purely, as strictly as the scriptures say, and the Spirit of God operates through me. So I hope you enjoyed that on the Church of Smyrna. Remember, the word myrrh is in Smyrna, meaning the embalming fluid of death, and they were going to suffer death. And He told them, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. He said, don't fear it. Be faithful unto death, and I'll give you a crown of life. And He still means it. That's what I mean about the circuit. It's still in effect over your life today. If there's something you're facing, or you ever do face, fearful, you don't need to be afraid. Be faithful until you leave this earth, and He'll give us a crown of life. Tune in again.